What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to State 48 Turtle and Tortoise. I am Hayden. Today I'm recovering from a little bit of a cold yesterday. It's not COVID. I tested. I don't know if I can say that word. But anywho, today, as you guys saw, we're going to be talking, and you guys saw in the thumbnail and title, we're going to be talking about Mazuri tortoise formula and tortoises. I've already begun chumming my tortoises to get them to come over. There's actually quite a few of them out today, and it is an ominous, kind of semi-cloudy day today. The sun's a little bit blocked, but nonetheless, the tortoises are hungry. As you can tell right off the bat, I do feed my tortoises Mazuri, so I think Mazuri is good for them. And I'm gonna tell you why. A lot of people, it's funny, you go on those Facebook forums and people are crazy. That's a whole nother story. I'm not gonna put anything or screenshot anything from there, but I understand that these tortoises, they're not gonna encounter Mazuri in the wild. And this is my pyramided tortoise. If you wanna learn more about her, there's a whole video on her, go find that one. I'm more than aware that she has pyramiding. But the Mazuri tortoise formula, people say, you know, they're not going to find it in the wild, you shouldn't be feeding it to them. Well, it's got a lot of nutrition and a lot of different things that are going to be good for them. And I use it as a supplement. As you can see, they have a couple thousand square feet of grass that they have access to at all times. They have weeds that grow up. They have a varied diet. They have Bermuda hay. They have tons of opportunity to have a varied diet. And these tortoises are super healthy. Granted, this tortoise has pyramided growth. You can clearly see from the time I got her how perfect her growth has been since we got her. So this is how pyramid she was when we got her. I mean, it has like a 45-degree angle on this side. It's hard to tell. But all the rest of this has been smooth, perfect growth, normal growth. So she's growing well. I feed them Mazuri maybe twice a week, depending. Sometimes in the summer when they're more active, I'll do it like 3 times a week. But I just give it to them whenever I feel like giving it to them. They literally eat the weeds, the grass, everything. I've never had to mow this. The winter grass is looking kind of sparse right now. Cannot wait to get some Bermuda growing in though in the spring. But nonetheless, got Brutus here doing phenomenal. But guys, even if you overfeed your tortoise the Mazuri, they are going to survive. I 100% promise you. If they literally start looking fat, you know, maybe you should cut back on it. But honestly, I'm gonna tell you guys a story, a really quick story. I've got a friend, well-known reptile breeder, been in the business a little over 11 years, great reputation, everything. He's got a tortoise that he bought, perfectly smooth shell growth, and she was raised on Mazuri. From what he said, it sounds like she had some romaine in there from time to time, but she always had Mazuri accessible at all times, and that's what a majority of her diet was. She's got perfectly smooth growth. She's a healthy tortoise. She's a happy tortoise. I'm not going to say you should exclusively feed them Mazuri, because I wouldn't do that either, but I have yet to see Mazuri do them harm. Some people say it's got way too much protein content for them. They're never going to encounter that in the wild. And that's what causes the pyramiding. The pyramiding discussion is a whole nother discussion. Not going to get into it in this one. But I can tell you right now, I do not think that Mazuri a couple times a week is going to cause your tortoise to get pyramiding. I think your biggest issues that are going to cause pyramiding are space. Diet's got a part of it, obviously. As far as like getting nutrients, actually getting nutrients in, but space, diet, and UVB exposure and heat, well, and humidity. And that's a lot of things. That was a lot more than just a couple, but humidity is kind of the new one that everyone is talking about. Space is the other one that I personally believe if they don't have enough space, but they have all the other requirements, they're going to grow pyramided. But then diet, space, humidity, all those things are going to affect pyramiding. But we're talking about Mazuri today. I'm not going to get into that. And I already got into it like 3 times. I'm sorry, guys. I'm all over the place. Still a little stuffy. But the tortoises love the Mazuri. They're not going to eat it if they don't want it. I mean, I'm not forcing them. They've got grass. They've got everything they want. Mazuri gives you all of their dietary crap on the back here. There's a couple different versions of the Mazuri. I just feed them whatever my local feed store has, and that's what I've always done. Sometimes the bags look different than other times, but I've literally only ever fed them whatever my feed store has, and they just have the Mazuri tortoise diet, and it is what it is. But it gets the job done. I know they make Mazuri tortoise diet LS, which, if I'm not mistaken, that means low starch, which obviously they shouldn't have starch in their diet. But I mean, look at how smooth. Sure, there's a little bit of pyramiding. It's a lot more noticeable on the albinos. That is plenty acceptable. I've had this tortoise since she was about 4.5, 5 inches, about 9 inches now. I would go ahead and say she's a smooth-shelled tortoise, but you guys can tell me what you think in the comments. But there is a Mazuri tortoise LS, low starch, from what I understand. Not a bad option if you can get that. I think it might be a little bit more pricey, but this is what I feed my tortoises, and I don't think they've had any health issues whatsoever. But guys, if you're not feeding your tortoises Mazuri, you've thought about it, I would suggest it. If you've got smaller tortoises, she's like right at the size where she kind of just eats like half pieces, and sometimes just like kind of the crumbs that get spread around. She can sometimes eat a whole piece if it's a smaller one, but if you got smaller tortoises, or if you're worried about your tortoise's hydration, I would recommend that you soak it. You can soak it in water. It becomes kind of you don't want to soak it till it's mash, but you want to soak it in the water to where it becomes soft. If your tortoise is not staying hydrated, it's a really good way to get hydration in, because they're going to consume a lot of water that's soaked into the Mazuri. Sometimes in the summer I'll do it soaked. I just give it dry because they can eat it dry, and because it's a literal mess whenever it is wet. I mean, it gets stuck to their feet, they drag it all over, it just makes a literal mess. So I don't soak it pretty much ever, unless it's like summer and I'm really trying to get hydration up. But I've got a lot of other ways to get hydration up. We got beautiful Jules here trying to figure out how to get to the food, and she's wondering why she can't go through the slat in the palate. You're just too big, girl. Gotta come around. Look at those gorgeous eyes. I don't know if you guys can see that on the camera. She has some gorgeous looking eyes. But guys, this is my rant for today. We're talking about Mazuri tortoise formula. If you're not buying it, you definitely should. Most local feed stores will have it. I'm sure Amazon has it, eBay. If you got a smaller tortoise, sometimes you can buy smaller quantities. I know a couple of the local reptile shops here in Arizona, they'll sell you like a 1 pound bag of it rather than a 30 pound bag or 25 pound bag or whatever this stuff is. They'll sell you smaller quantities. But I mean, I can burn through a bag with these tortoises when I'm feeding it to them often. I can burn through a bag in about 4 weeks, maybe 3 to 4 weeks. But guys, these are the tortoises, happy and healthy. I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys a quick update before I wrap up the video on our last video, which is DIY nesting boxes. The turtles are loving them. I literally come out all the time. Turtles are basking up here. They're very aware of the sandy area. And then as you can tell, there's a couple shed scutes. I need to make a video on that, but the water turtles actually shed their scutes. So there's one there, there's a couple down in there. I bet this box probably has some too. There's a shed scute there, another one there. So the turtles need to shed their scutes. They're not gonna shed their scutes unless their shells can kind of like dry out when they're basking. And so it's been really, really good. They've been shedding scutes really good. They've been really healthy. I kind of made a mistake in this pond and I didn't separate the males out, and it's way too far deep into breeding season, so I'm just gonna let these turtles do their thing. And regardless, I think we should produce some of the creamsicles there and caramels and all that fun stuff. But guys, this is gonna be a wrap on today's video. I highly suggest you get some Mazuri for your tortoises if you're comfortable with it. If you don't want to do it, then don't do it if you want to give a naturalistic diet. But the tortoise diet from Mazuri is phenomenal stuff. I'm not sponsored by them. Maybe someday, but I don't think they really sponsor people. But I appreciate you guys. If you're new, click the subscribe button and click like on the video because it helps with the YouTube algorithm. And the last thing, if you made it this far in the video, I'm a TikToker now, guys. I created a TikTok. So if you guys could go follow me on there, show me some love there. But that's about it. I'm gonna be posting a lot on the TikTok. Some videos are gonna be good, some videos are gonna be great, some videos are gonna be like meh. But I'm just trying to get some content out there because I'm so far behind the rest of the people in the game. But we're hoping that can drive more people over here to YouTube where we've got the full length videos, which is what I enjoy. But I appreciate you guys. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.